Boom! What's going on, you beautiful person? It is so good to see you on another day. Today is April 26th. My man, it's Hushthemoto. His birthday. So before anything continues, before we get into this podcast, please wish my boy a happy 22nd birthday. I will have the link to his Instagram down below, so you can go on there and DM him real fast. Check out his music on Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much any music streaming platform service, I guess, you listen to. Make sure you go wish him a happy birthday. That's my best friend. That is my dog. That's my brother. I love you, dog. I'm wearing his hoodie just for this podcast. He's an amazing guy. He deserves all the love and everything. Go show him some support real quick. But today is the second episode of the Afro Podcast. Now, I got a lot of really good positive reception from the first one. So it seems like you guys really mess with the podcast, so I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. So let's just get right into it. Now, I had a couple topics in mind that I thought of that I wanted to talk about, but I also, like I always do, ask Instagram if they have anything they want me to cover, and they gave me so many good ones that I was just like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and address all of these like I did in the last one, because some of the things I want to talk about were a little... I guess a little, not sad, kind of a little serious, and I do definitely want to use my podcast to talk about those things. But I don't know. I'm in a really good positive mood. I kind of just want to give a little bit of a distraction to that. I think I talked enough seriousness in the last one, and there was a little bit of seriousness coming up in this one, but I don't know. I just kind of want to keep it lighthearted, something fun and enjoyable for you to watch. Let me go ahead and lower my mic audio because I feel like it's super duper loud. So hopefully it's better for you guys now. But let's just get right on into it. The first topic, or I guess question, these are all questions, is from my man Banana Brandon. You guys have heard me mention his name plenty of times. If you're not subbed to him, you already need to. He said, is Curry the best point guard of all time? And this is interesting to me, right? So we're talking basketball, obviously. There's no point guard in any other sport. Also, ignore the hair. It's just it was a mess this morning. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I've been awake since 6 o'clock yesterday. So I've been awake all night and all that. So I don't know, I'm a mess. So here's the thing. I am starting, when I'm calling a player the best. Whoa, camera is not focusing. What's going on? There it is. I don't know what happened. Sorry. When we're talking the best player, like regardless, or like is Michael Jordan the GOAT and all that, I'm starting to do it by era, right? Because there's a really big split per era. There's the old school, there's like the super old where everything was pretty easy. All you had to do was be tall and athletic for the most part, and you can do damage in the league. That's when the numbers were super inflated, like Wilt and stuff like that's numbers were super inflated. Then you got that like 80s, 90s era where it's very physical. You got Michael Jordan, Magic, Larry, the Bad Boy Pistons, all those super dope teams. And then you have, I would say, the early 2000s was just a little bit of a mix, not quite as physical maybe, but the current era we're in is all about shooting and not a lot of contact, a lot of bullcrap calls and texts from the refs. So for future basketball questions, I'm going to answer it like this. Is Curry the best point guard of all time? I would say it depends on what you want from your point guard. For this era, like I would say, I guess if you want to do it by decade, I guess the 2010s and beyond. Yeah, he was most definitely the best point guard. If you want to talk about, because now technically we're on like the 2020s, so 2020 and 2021, he is definitely the best point guard. He's been injured for most of it, but every time he's on a team, man, like he's been on a different team. The Warriors are just different without him, man. Like the Warriors wouldn't have won any of their championships without him. So he is easily the best. I would say it's between him and Magic. Like if you want a lot of height at your point guard position, and Magic is just like a straight winner, he's gonna carry your team, and he's a lot better defensively than Steph because of his size and all that. So I would say in that regard, yes. But if you think about it, right? So you got Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, who is a great ball handler, right? And commands you to basically start guarding him the moment he passes half court or the moment he's open from a three and he moves around so much. If you take whoever your favorite player is, right? If your favorite player is Kobe, Mike, Durant, Melo, Reggie Miller, all these people, when they have to guard Steph like that, those guys are going to start getting open and are going to start getting better looks. And if they're double teaming them, then Steph is getting open looks and he's making most of them. He's proven he's the best shooter of all time, so he's going to be able to space the floor more. Now, I will say, in that 80s, 90s era where it's a lot more physical, I don't think he would do as well as Magic, just because they're gonna get away with so many calls on him, and with how his legs and ankles are kind of set up, they're gonna target that, and I feel like he's gonna get injured right out the game. So, I think it's a little tough, but it's really up to what you want. Curry is my favorite point guard of all time. My favorite player of all time is Tracy McGrady, but Curry is my favorite point guard of all time. I would say he's the best, depending on what you're looking for. But overall, his career's not even done yet. He's still got more to go. So he's easily at least second. No one's even close. Then I got a question from my boy. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. My boy Devon the Don Coons, the G himself, says, "Why do people hate on Melo or underrate him?" Now, when he says Melo, if anybody ever says Melo and you think it's LaMelo, you need to stop immediately. LaMelo will never be known as Melo. Don't ever call him that. That is always going to be Carmelo Anthony. So Melo, why is he so underrated slash hate on him? I would say he's underappreciated in a lot of ways, and I think the main reasons for that is I don't it's just he's kind of in a weird place, right? Like, geez, I'm sorry. Oh wow, there it is. My throat is great now. Um, he's in a weird place because Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan we've ever seen. So there was a lot of people looking at Kobe. Tim Duncan was being the greatest power forward we've ever seen. Ever. There's no debate about that. LeBron was challenging to be the next Michael Jordan. So I feel like there was so much attention on different people, and my camera's frozen, so hopefully the audio's still working, and now the camera's back. There's so much attention on other historical things because Melo isn't like breaking records or isn't showing up like I'm the best small forward in the league or not, like, he's just being amazing. So I feel like people are watching too many other different things too closely and aren't really appreciating Melo enough. Like, I feel like when Melo retires and he has to be a Hall of Famer. He's just too good of an offensive person to not be. And we start looking at his highlights, like, bro, Melo is nasty. Melo is so raw, one of the greatest scorers of all time. But I feel like he's just kind of flying under the radar because his name isn't as like out there, like trying to compete with LeBron, Tim Duncan, and Kobe as they're making history left and right. Or they're like, they're just always the favorites. I don't think anybody ever really took any Nuggets or Knicks team he's ever been on to be extremely serious title contenders. Now, I think he's had a team good enough to win a chip, but there's just too many other plays, like, the little Celtics big three they put together, I guess really big four they put together and all that. Like, there's just too many other things for Melo to kind of fit in there. He was just being amazing. He wasn't breaking a bunch of records, but I think that's why he's a little underappreciated. And in terms of being hated on, like how he didn't have a job for a while and he's kind of forgotten in the league right now, I think he's super undervalued and underappreciated. He's doing great in Portland and he's still like hooping, like he can still play basketball. So I don't know. I think we're starting to get to a point where people are too young to know the Melo that we know. They're gonna know Melo as what he's as like OKC Melo and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we're gonna get into that era where people are gonna start forgetting. The same way when we were growing up, we were saying that like this person, like Kobe's the best or LeBron's the best. And those people from the 80s and the 90s are like, well, you never saw Larry Bird and Magic. It's kind of that type of thing, right? So There's a lot of good players from back then that we don't talk about now as much. So it's just the cycle of life. It's just what happens. So prepare yourself for that. You're gonna need to get into a lot of arguments and conversations with young kids who think that ridiculous that like Jason Tatum's better than him like, and all that, which he could possibly be, but right now not even close. It's so not even close. Then we got my boy Eddie sliding through with the what's my top 3 favorite video games. Holy freaking moly, that is a humongous question. That is a humongous question. Now, so this isn't objective. This is just my personal favorite top 3 video games, and this isn't like ones that changed my life or my first ones or whatever. If I had to choose 3 video games to play for the rest of my life, and I could only play those video games, number 1 is Borderlands 2, which is my favorite game of all time. No, no debate. I would probably say Halo 3 is probably up there as well, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is up there as well. No, like that is just that is it for me. Like that is the pinnacle. Borderlands is ridiculously fun. It's kind of a niche thing, but if you start playing it and liking it, there's so much you can get into and you can play it forever. The DLCs are amazing, and if you play it on PC, a lot of mods keep it really fresh and really amazing. Excuse me. Halo 3 is just it's untouchable. The multiplayer was amazing. The campaign was like, oh my god. Halo 1, 2 and 3 campaigns were amazing. The music, the visuals, the gameplay, the amount of co-op you can do in there, Forge, like all these different things. And Black Ops 2 was the very first game I got heavy into competitive Call of Duty, not like on an MLG team, but I'm talking about just like playing online. Black Ops 2 is where it started it for me, and that's where I really developed myself as a gamer. Like, I became a serious gamer, and I became good at shooters in Black Ops 2. That's where I started. That's where I learned how to snipe. I can't really snipe much anymore, but that's where I learned how to snipe, go on crazy kill streaks, get a bunch of kills in games, clutch plays, and my love for video games really took off in Black Ops 2. So it's disrespectful not to talk about it, but that's just what I would say. Kevin had a really good question. He said life advice. I'm going to skip that one for now and come back to it at the end because that's going to probably get into a deep conversation. So don't worry, Kevin. I'm not going to fully skip you. We're just going to revisit it. And then my sister, not by blood, but pretty much, Marissa, the amazing young lady, had 6 questions. So I'm just going to rapid fire run through them real quick. By the way, Marissa, if you're listening, what's up? Love you. Good to see you responding. Hope you're doing well. First thing she says, what is something I would like to change about the Star Wars? What is something I would change about the Star Wars franchise that I didn't like? Now that's interesting. If you don't know, Star Wars is like one of my most favorite. I don't what properties or series or I don't know. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it right now. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and if I could change anything about the Star Wars universe, I don't know. Um, I guess maybe the direction maybe they took a lot of the story. Like I'm not super duper deep into the Star Wars lore. I like Star Wars because on face value, just watching the movies, you can enjoy them. They have good. They have some very good video games, so gamers can enjoy it. They have extremely deep lore with books and comics that you can read into. That is really dope. Obviously, The Mandalorian, Star Wars: The Clone Wars that was on Cartoon Network. The animated series was they were both extremely good. The movies are dope. Lightsabers are amazing. Every single droid they introduce is fire. There's just so much good about Star Wars. I would probably just say maybe a re-look into the storyline of the prequels and also the movies after it. I think I like all of the main Star Wars movies. I like all of them, right? Because I don't go deep into lore, but I just enjoy watching all of them. I do. Now with all these like plot holes and plot points they miss and all that, I don't really get into that. I'm entertained when I watch it, and that's all I need to watch. I like the characters. I loved everybody from the prequel. Darth Maul is my favorite person ever. Super dope. We got Mace Windu. I mean, hello, Samuel L. Jackson. Like, we got him in Star Wars. What? Like, the Clone Wars was super interesting. And say what you will about the prequels and the games after, or the movies afterwards. I guess what you're the sequel. What do they call that? The sequel, the Skywalker. I don't know, whatever they call it. Those are cool too. Like, Ray. I liked Ray. I like BB-8. Um, Marissa is in love with Kylo, and I like Kylo. I think he's cool. He's a really cool lightsaber, and he just rages. Got some Vader aspects to him. Like, there's just a lot good, but maybe some of the story things so other people could enjoy it more. I don't think it would take away from me necessarily, but I don't know. A little bit of that, I would probably say. Greatest Star Wars character in the franchise. All right, the greatest. You want to talk about the greatest? So it's not my favorite. This is an objective opinion. The greatest character in Star Wars, to me, has to be R2D2, because he is essential in so many different ways. He saves people all the time. He's extremely important to a lot of story points. I'm not gonna go in depth into him because it would take me too long. I don't know enough about him, and I don't want to spoil for anyone who somehow hasn't watched Star Wars. But R2 is there from the jump, there from the beginning. He's in like almost everything related to Star Wars, and he's just got this little canister body and these two little legs and this adorable scream, and he's just cute but like deadly. He's just the goat. Like, he's always consistently fire. Like, you're never like, oh my god, R2 again, or like, man, R2, why would you do that, or whatever. R2 is fire always. R2D2 is always fire, and he's a droid, so we will never lose him unless they kill him off, and if they do, we're throwing hands. But R2D2 is the GOAT, and no one even talks about it. Now, if we're talking about my favorite, like I said earlier, Darth Maul, but that's a question for another day. She also asked, pineapple on pizza? No. No. I'm sorry, I'm not supporting your pineapple on pizza fantasies or fetishes. What fetishes is? I'm not supporting your pineapple on pizza fetish. I don't know if fetishes is even a word. Pineapple doesn't belong on pizza to me, but I'm also a child when it comes to pizza. I like my pizza simple. Pepperoni or extra or like sausage or bacon. I guess the ham or whatever they put on. I guess that's cool. I don't like combination all the vegetables on that, bro. I'm just here for cheese, sauce, bread, and like some kind of meat, bro. So I'm a child when it comes to pizza, but I don't like pineapple anyway. So maybe if I liked pineapple, I could understand it, but I don't even like pineapple. So that's just me. And while I'm talking about that, weird thing about me, a little fun fact, which I think was actually, yeah, here we go. Yep, that was that was one of her other questions. I don't know how this just came up. What's weird is myself personally, I don't really like fruit just as a whole. I don't know what it is. I just don't really get into fruit like that. I've always preferred, like, I like more vegetables than I like more fruits. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, I have been picky my whole life. I'm a lot better now, but I've been picky forever. Um, my mom would be like, okay, well, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables, and I'd be like, I don't like them. But then I started liking vegetables. She's like, oh, you need to start eating more fruits. And I was like, I'll just eat more vegetables. She's like, really? Like, fruits are sweeter, more refreshing. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, my favorite fruit is grapes. I will eat any grape except raisins. That's disgusting. But like, I love grapes. Strawberries are cool. Apples, but dude, like, grapes are untouchable for me. But I love vegetables. I don't really mess with fruits like that. I don't know. It's like an unhealthy thing with me, I guess, or I don't know. That's just my preference, bro. Like, I don't know. You can't try to like convince me like, oh, I'm wrong. I do like fruits. Like, my tongue palate just does not like fruits that much. So that's just me. Um, she said best fast food restaurant. Now that is a little tough. My personal favorite is McDonald's, but if I had to say the best one, ooh, I mean, low key, bro. If you want to look at everything a fast food restaurant is, I'm sorry, dude. Chick-fil-A it's just ahead, bro. Like, it's on a different level. It's got fire food, fire sauces. The fries are a little whack, but the sauces help with that. That's a bar. Um, Everyone knows about the customer service. Their brownies, which I just had recently with Marissa, fire. Um, the line times aren't ever that bad. I mean, they're bad because they're so long, but like they're pretty about it. They're pretty good on their stuff. Um, I was working at Foot Locker one day, and one of like the managers came in. I didn't even know they were a manager, but I had a friend who was working at that one, because I saw like their little name tag, and I was like, "Oh, do you work with so and so?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, you know her?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, she's cool." And then just because of that, he gave me a card that got me a free sandwich. Like, I don't know anywhere else you can do that. I don't know. Like, there's just something about them that you feel so warm and welcome, and you just feel great when you're there. Like, I think a lot of us have forgotten how much we love Chick-fil-A because you haven't like gotten to go in there and sat down and eaten. But like, when you go in there and order and sit down and get your food and all that, and like they bring it to you, and one of the Chick-fil-A's that I live near, each table has a little box, and you can put your cell phones in the box, or you could not and just tell them you did because I don't think they care anyway. But if you do that, A, it promotes you guys talking more at the table. They give you free ice cream if you do that. It's not like that everywhere, I don't think. But the first time I ever went there, like the first Chick-fil-A I went to, did they're just they are fire. Now obviously their views on the LGBTQ community and all that is kind of like whack. Um, but there's I mean, I like when I'm purchasing for there, I'm not so much trying to support those views and those thoughts, but like the people that work there are so nice. It makes me feel so nice, and at the end of the day, like those are people who just need a job, and if it's a dead restaurant and they're not making their sales, they don't give those hours to those people, and they don't have a job. So I'm just there to support whoever is working there, really, even though the money ultimately goes to the people with the weird morals and all that. That's a little whack, but look, bro, it's it is what it is. No, we're not gonna agree on everything. You can get into beef with any fast food restaurant, but yeah, and everyone always complains that like, oh, they're closed Sundays, bro. What is wrong with having a day of not having to get fast food, even if you're really feeling it that day? Sundays, now if you're religious, like I'm Christian, right? So we have church on Sunday. So if Chick-fil-A's not open, you're probably with your family eating food better than you could get from there anyway, right? Or make Sunday your like picnic day. Go to the beach and get some food. Get some sandwiches from like a grocery store. Rayleigh's makes fire sandwiches. Let me just say that. I got way too deep into this freaking Chick-fil-A love, but there it is. Excuse me. And then her final question was, my favorite thing about Marianne. Now, Marianne is my girlfriend, like my wife, my soulmate, my other half. Let's see, what? Today's the 26th. Okay, so hold on. And then, so her and I have been together for 6 years and 7 months now. Um, and so obviously we've been together for a while, right? And we after we it was like love. It was where it was like a love at first sight thing, and ever since the day I just looked at her, I knew that there was no one else I would ever be with ever in my life, like no doubt. And I fully mean that. Like I know a lot of people like just say that, or it's just like the thing to say, like what kind of boyfriend just like, oh yeah, I looked at her, I thought she was ugly and terrible, but then I met her and I was like, oh, I guess she's not that ugly. But like I don't know. I cannot explain it. I don't think it's common in the slightest. But the moment I looked at her, I knew for a fact that I was going to be deeply in love with her, and I was. So, what's my favorite thing about her? My favorite thing about her is most definitely how committed she is to our relationship, how committed we both are. Um, Being in a relationship for 6 years and 7 months and 3 days um, is extremely, extremely difficult in a way. It's not difficult. Like it's not hard for me to be with her. She's the easiest person I've ever had to be with. Um, like before her, all the other girls I've been with, I felt like had to be somebody I'm not to stay with them, and most of the time it wouldn't work out anyway. Obviously, because it obviously didn't work out that well. But with her, I am so organically myself that it's amazing. But sometimes it gets hard because you don't know how to handle and carry a relationship that long. Like her and I met when she was 13, I was 14, right? Or wait, no. Yes. Right? Yes, yeah. So when you're that young and you meet, right? Um, there's a lot of first things we've done as a couple, like each other's first so and so. I think you kind of get what I'm kind of alluding to. Um, but so there's a lot that I guess discovery you kind of miss out on. Like a lot of girls call it their HO phase. I'm trying to keep it clean for the podcast so everybody can listen to it. But their HO phase, or their exploring phase where they're just going from partner to partner, kind of trying out all these things sexually and whatnot. Um, but you I don't regret not doing that in the slightest. I'm way more happy being with just her. But you do miss out on some of those types of things, like going out and having to pick up chicks when you're old enough and all that. So you miss out on a lot of different things, which is a worthwhile sacrifice because you're with the person you love. Like, why would you even want to go through all that if you could just meet the person you love, right? So it gets tough, and you have to learn a lot of lessons that not a lot of people can teach you. Like, there of course are couples who last a long time, but at least personally in my life, I haven't really. I don't think, other than my dad and my stepmom, who, by the way, I love you guys. If for some reason you guys are hearing this, I love you guys. Um, I can't really think too much of long relationships that I've seen personally, right? Like, my mom and my dad were never married, right? They were just dating, and I was that special surprise that hit them like a dump truck, but they handled it well, right? So they were never married. So I have no idea what it's like to see a mom and a dad, like my mom, my dad. Now, obviously, I've seen my dad and my stepmom, but like my birth mom, and my birth dad, together in the same house, day by day by day, right? Now, obviously, I have my mom and my granny, and then I have my dad and my stepmom, and then I have like all these different people who are helping me. Like, I'm not complaining, but in terms of the relationship, I haven't met anyone that's in the relationship that I'm in, right? So there's nothing they can really tell you to prepare you for what you're going through, because they don't know it personally. They can make assumptions or watch out for this, but realistically, you just have to go through that stuff, right? Like, her and I have both made plenty of mistakes. We've both gone through really tough times and really tough situations together. Um, there's been times like we've been at our lowest as people while being together, and there's like I can go on about stuff that we've like had to learn, but that's the thing that I love so much about her, is she's always willing to look at it from the lesson perspective, rather than you messed up this one time, so I can't trust you ever again. But it's more of a, okay, so um you did mess up, how did we get to that point, right? And I'm not saying that I think the reason we can do that so well is because I always take accountability when I mess up. Like, I know when I mess up, right? And I can get on a mental health talk for hours and talk about my mental health and stuff like that, and things I've learned and had to deal with. But for the most part, I have a pretty good head on my shoulders. I like to think. I'm not trying to be cocky or anything. I'm just saying, like, I don't go through as much as other people. I'm not trying to be a victim, but there are some things I had to learn about my mental health in certain situations I was in my life, where I was living, what was going on around me, different types of stresses that I faced as a child and stuff like that. Um, that I didn't know how to deal with those and keep my relationship to not suffer from that. So I've made mistakes with certain things, and she was able to. Obviously, I take accountability for that, and I admit when I'm wrong, and I always tell her when I do something wrong, or we always talk about it. But she's willing to help me learn that lesson and give me the comfort of, I'm not happy that you messed up, but we can move forward with this. And I've done the same thing for her. Like, there have been times where she doesn't realize what she's doing in the moment, and then I guess I'll just tell a short story of it real quick, because it's not significant. I'm not gonna go on here and talk about significant things that we've had to learn as a couple, because that is our business. I like to keep some things private in my life. I'm not just gonna go on here and expose my entire life to YouTube. Like, that is a huge mistake. I'm not doing that. But just like a small little thing was, basically her and I got into a little bit of I guess kind of an argument, or um, just kind of something, right? Just like a little. We were kind of irritated at each other, and she kept asking me what was wrong, and I was like, I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'll talk to you about it later. And so she kept like kind of poking at it and kept pressing me about it all day. And then I just kind of like snapped, and I was super mad, um, and stuff like that. But at the end, it literally lasted just a full school day. Like, it was beginning of school, and then at the end of school, before we were like leaving to go home, her and I talked about it, and she was accountable. She's like, "I'm sorry, I did this. I messed up doing this. I'm sorry." And I was like, "It's okay. I should have been like this." We both came to like, you did something wrong. I did something wrong. That's why we had this problem. Here's the resolution. Here's like the fix, the going forward, right? And so we got over it. Like, we always find a way to get over everything. And I mean, we have been through a lot. Just as people, we have been through a lot. So my favorite thing about her is her resiliency and her ability to push through those things, because it's something that I have, and finding that in a partner is super duper duper difficult, because you have to realize, if you're in a relationship for the long run, if you plan on getting married, if you're looking for a partner for like the rest of your life type of deal, and I know to a lot of people that's scary and that's a little hard for them, but if you are trying to be with someone and find the love of your life, you have got to accept the fact that they are a human being like you. They are going to mess up. They are going to do something. They're going to slip up in some way. I don't. There's different levels of how significant it is, but regardless, you are with a human being. They are bound to mess up, and you are bound to mess up, regardless of how in love or how perfect you guys are or whatnot. There's gonna be a time where you guys got to go through some growth, and the strength of your relationship really shows up when you guys are at your worst, not when you're at your best. That's why you judge your relationship on how you tackle problems, and that's how I know for a fact that her and I are going to be together forever, because there hasn't been a single problem that has resulted in us never wanting to speak to the other person, never wanting to be with the other person, um, ever again, never wanting to, like, basically, like, there's no chance that we're ever going to be able to get over this. There has not been, and there's been some difficult obstacles, and her and I have overcome it. So that is easily my favorite part about her. I love her to death, and each day only gets better. Like, I remember a couple years ago, I was like, man, I felt like we've never been happier. But looking 2 years later, like, it constantly gets like that. So I would say, like, that is my favorite thing about her. But that's also something that you should kind of work on for anyone who's listening. Work on that yourself, and that's kind of hard, because you can't just start getting mad at someone for no reason and be like, okay, well, now how am I going to work on resolving it? Like, you just kind of have to go through it. But maybe keep what I said in your mind, and try to like think about it from a outside perspective, and try to see where you maybe could have messed up or something. So yeah, definitely that. Excuse me. Wow, that got really deep. um, I also got a call. A call. Wow. Wow. A question from my homie. I call her the Apex Queen, like the Apex Legends Queen. Her name is Mariana. I don't know if I'm supposed to roll the R there, but I hope I said your name right. Who I used to go to school with a long time ago. By the way, hope you're good. Hope you and your kid are doing great. I saw you post him, I think, the other day. Your son, handsome little man. Love seeing you. Or maybe it was like your nephew or something, because you might have a daughter. I don't remember. Either way, she says, "What are my plans with streaming, and do I think I'll get out there?" So my plans with streaming. So look, the internet connection in my house is not good enough for me to stream consistently and reliably, right? It's not there for me to make a career out of it yet. So I'm doing more YouTube until I can get to that point where I can start streaming consistently. Um, so my plans with streaming is to make it a career, both streaming and YouTube, to make it a career where I can financially support a family comfortably, and be able to afford assets and knowledge to be able to live a wealthy and happy life, and be able to pass it down for generations throughout my entire family. And so the second part of your question is, do I think I'll get out there? Um, I do, wholeheartedly. I think a lot of people who are starting on this journey, and it's not even just with streaming or YouTube. It's with everything you want to do. That comes into, like, for those people who dance or make music or are just starting up a business and stuff like that. You need to be your biggest fan, or like your biggest supporter, or you need to be the loudest voice in your head saying you can, because I've come to realize that if you can't tell yourself that you're going to make it, or if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't obsess yourself with the grind it takes to get there, because you know you're going to get there, you're everything you're going to do is going to suffer. Like, if I didn't think I could make it far in YouTube or streaming, I wouldn't do it. But the reason I know, and that I am, or the reason that I do it, is because I know I'm gonna make it. I know I'm gonna achieve all my goals in that, and probably set new ones and accomplish those. I know it. I just know it. And if I die before I get to that, knock on wood or whatever, then I will be happy dying knowing I did everything, every waking moment to get to that goal. Because to me, you're not wasting your life at that point. Like, every single second you spend going towards your goal, whatever that is, I'll keep using streaming, or I guess YouTube. I'll use YouTube as an example when I'm talking about it now to make it consistent, but this applies for whatever you do. You have to believe in yourself. There are way too many people who are going to be negative and naysayers, and if you let those people bring you down, then they're winning. And, like, so what? Like, if some random person comments on your video, like, this video sucks, or you suck, you're never going to make it, that person obviously doesn't have anything going on, because people who actually are focused and are doing things in their life don't have time to do that, and don't really care. And all they did was say that, got off their phone, and then forgot about you in a day. And if you hold on to that for your life and that's what stops you, then, like, no, you're not going to make it. You need to be your biggest supporter. I believe in myself more than anybody. Like, I know I do. I mean, like, lately I've been working out and getting outside more. And that's a goal that Marianne set for me. And I believe that I can get to my goal of cutting down a lot of the fat I have and building a nice body, my dream body type of deal, and being athletic and getting outside more. So I fully believe in everything I do. I've been in a position where I had the opportunity to start my own business, which I did do, and that's a story for another day. And I came to realize that being successful in that, I could have, but I would have been wanting to do YouTube the whole time. So every dollar and second I spent doing my business would be tough. And it would be unfulfilling, because let's say I start my own business and I make $1 million and I'm super successful. I'm going to want to put that $1 million into my career. Well, okay, obviously not the whole thing, but I'm going to want to put a lot more money and be like, now that I have all this money and I'm a great business guy, I'm going to start YouTube. But it's like, I wasted 10 years of my life building that, when it could have been 10 years of YouTube. So that would definitely be my biggest thing. And I guess this is kind of tying into Kevin's question that I mentioned earlier of life advice. Is first and foremost, for my life advice, I tell this to everybody who asks for it. Our parents, in terms like my mom's generation, right? Kids who were born in the 80s or 90s, or grew up in the 80s and 90s, were the last generation where graduating high school, going to college, getting a degree, and finding your career was the only thing you could have done, was the only path to success. And success is, I mean, dude, like, I'm telling you, I can go on this forever. They were the last generation where that was what you had to do. We are all in a generation now where we have the internet, right? And the internet unlocks unlimited possibilities and knowledge right at your fingertips. Like, back then, if you wanted to start a business in the 90s, or I guess I could say the 80s, you just had to know people. And you had to go outside of your room every single day and just know people. If you wanted that information, you either needed to meet someone, or if you wanted to know a random fact or get yourself out there, handing out flyers. You'd have to go out and shake people's hands and talk to them, invite them, and get a bunch of no's. Like, the internet has opened up so many more possibilities and opportunities, and there's so much more money in all these different careers and aspects because the people like our generation right now. I'm talking to all the people who are like around 21, 20, maybe like 15 or so. We are not the first to do anything. But I mean, there might be, of course, there's like new things that are going to pop up eventually. But whatever your passion is right now, you're not the first person to be successful in that. You have to be looking up to somebody. There has to be somebody who got to a point that you want to get to, whether it's your favorite YouTuber, your favorite dancer, your favorite musician. They have been able to show you you can make it there, and now there are things put in place to make that journey easier, right? Now, for you to be successful, and success is whatever you want it to be, um, you it's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So you have to be willing to push yourself through every single challenge and obstacle you face. So that's why I say you need to be your biggest supporter, because when you hit a brick wall and you have no idea how to get through it, over it, behind it, under it, if you don't know how to get through and you're not telling yourself you can get through there, you're going to be stuck at that wall your whole life. And then when you get to be 70 years old, 60 years old, 80 years old, retired, unable to walk around more, and you saw all your friends go do what they're doing, and you spent your whole life having to work a job you hate, you're going to wish you can go back. And unfortunately, the way it's looking, you're not going to be able to go back in time. Don't bet on that. Don't bet on time travel. You have no idea when you're going to die, or how you're going to die, or what's going to change. You have no idea. So you spend each and every second you can going towards that goal, because you're not wasting your time at that point. Regardless of whatever your religious believes in and your afterlife and whatnot, spend each day, because we know how to live our lives. Do that. Worry about all that stuff later. Get to where you need to get now, today, while you're listening to this podcast, or right after it. Don't forget to subscribe before you do that. But yeah, man, you could do anything. There is absolutely nothing that should prevent you from going after your goals. And then once you make it that far, you should keep going. Push yourself farther each day. Like, you think about it, like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is known as one of the greatest wrestlers in the WWE. Ridiculously successful, and he's a ridiculously successful actor, and he has his own shoe with Under Armour, and he has his own tequila and stuff like that, right? But he still works more than you and I do combined, and he has all these other obligations, and he already has all this money, and he has this big house, and he could walk into a room and everybody loves him, right? To what some of us think is success, he already has it. But he still pushes the envelope and still works harder. That's why he's successful. That is why he learned from his grandpa and his dad and his grandma and everybody before him. He learned and came from poverty, and obviously he was blessed athletically, but regardless, it's the work ethic that brought him there. It's not about how he was born and was already built like a wrestler, right? It was his work ethic. You gotta have the confidence in the work ethic, and then at that point, there is no freaking way you won't be successful. At all. And I firmly believe in that. And I will tell that to anybody. So, whatever the heck it is, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just say right now, whatever your passion is, whatever your career is, if you're having a tough time figuring out what you want to do the rest of your life, what do you do when you're not at school and you're not at work, right? Like, when you go home, what do you do? What do you watch? Do you just listen to music and chill? Do you write? Do you like reading? Do you like playing video games? Do you play sports? What do you do? That's probably what you want to do for the rest of your life. And there's money in everything you could possibly do. If you listen to music and you really like going through like albums and you like talking about them and what you like about them, you can record yourself reviewing albums and just reviewing things in general, and boom, there's a career. We all know that, you could be a professional athlete in whatever sport you want to do and whatnot, or whatever the heck it is. But that's kind of something I want to as a challenge for this podcast. Let me know in the comments section what your career is, what your passion is, what you want to achieve. And also with that, let me know what you define success as, and let me know what scares you the most about the journey, or what's scaring you the most about starting, or what's preventing you from starting. Like just typing that, and be completely honest, because nobody's gonna go down there and start hating on you. Excuse me. And even if they do, I'm removing those comments or whatever. We're not here for negativity. Plus, people who are negative probably didn't make it this far anyway, but you did for a reason. So this is your calling. Go down there, be completely honest with yourself. Just typing it out may make you realize what you really want to do. And after you type that, I'm going to read it. I'm going to respond to it. And I want you to start it immediately. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If you don't have a camera, get a job, save up for a camera. I know a lot of people like hating on 9-to-5 jobs and, working a 9-to-5 sucks. It sucks if that's your whole life, but sometimes sometimes you gotta wash dishes at a restaurant to get to your dream. Sometimes you gotta pick up trash. Sometimes you gotta sell shoes. I had to. 3 years. A little bit more. About 4 years I sold shoes. From 16 to 20 years old, I sold shoes. I was assistant manager. I went to multiple Foot Lockers and whatnot. But that money helped go to rent, helped feed me, taught me responsibility with money, and I was also able to get everything you're seeing right now. Like, the fact you're seeing this video, maybe you can't, obviously you can't see it. I have 2 monitors, a PC, a bunch of consoles, controllers. I have my own room. I have a bunch of clothes and stuff like that in my room. That started from my first day at 16 years old, getting a job and starting to work. This all came from that. Tax returns, stimulus, all that. And then, like, saving money. And, of course, like, I've had a lot of, like, I'm not saying I bought all this by myself. Like, I've had a lot of people supporting me. But it all starts somewhere. Now, when I was 16 years old, I wanted to be the CEO of Foot Locker. I was already looking ahead, like, I want to own this whole company, right? And eventually I figured out that obviously I didn't want to do that. But little did I know that I would eventually discover that I wanted to do YouTube, and me working there was going to lead to me doing YouTube. This is my career now, what I've always wanted to do. It, like I said, it always starts somewhere. So I'm looking forward to what you guys put down there. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. I really hope you enjoyed it. I love you guys beyond imagination, every single one of you, right? Like, let's get into a little personal, like, when I say you guys, like, this is just you right now. I'm talking to you right now, okay? Don't worry about all the other people I'm talking about. Just you. Look at me. You got this. Whatever the heck it is. You can do it. All right? I love you. Like, I love you. Because you are believing in me and supporting me, and I got you back. I'd be super interested if somebody I don't even know is in the comment section and says, I'm starting to make music. Okay, write down that comment section. I want to see the link and I want to listen to what you got. Follow me on Instagram so I can follow you back and DM you what I thought about it. I know how to give constructive criticism and tell you what I did like about it and where I think I could see you improving. I like that. I like it when people give that to me. But you got it, okay? I need you to believe in believe in yourself. Full confidence at all times. Stay out of trouble. And follow your career. Okay? I'm going to stop wasting your guys' time. It's been almost 50 minutes, so this is going to be fun to go through the video and look at the timestamps. But, hey, that's what you got to do. Look out for a couple more gaming videos coming out this week. I hope you guys have a great week, great day, great year, and a great life. I can't wait to be successful with all of you guys right beside me. Let's support each other. And, yeah, appreciate you guys for stopping by. Catch you guys in the next video.